All right, so we're diving deep today into something a lot of you have been asking about: Diary of an Asset, Memoirs of a Psychic Spy by Stasha Erickson. And like we always do, we've gone through analyses, online discussions about it, looked into the author's background and kind of the general reception so we can give you all the need-to-know info on this book that dives into psychic espionage and all those conspiracy theories.
Yeah, getting to the core of what this book is really all about.
Exactly. So the book throws us right into the life of Sophia Snow, who discovers a hidden reality most of us, don't really see every day. Think psychic abilities,
Yep.
government conspiracies, maybe even some extraterrestrial stuff and all kinds of paranormal things. And through it all, she realizes she's an empath.
And possibly not even entirely human.
Right. She might not even be fully human, which adds a whole other layer to it. And what's really interesting is that the story is told through Sophia's diary entries.
Which gives us this super personal perspective.
Yeah, it feels like you're right there with her. And then on top of that, it claims to be based on true events.
Yeah.
Which always makes you wonder how much of it is fiction and how much is real.
Right. What is that line?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So some of the key things Sophia goes through are encounters with these strange creatures in human suits, she calls them, which is a pretty wild image.
It makes you wonder what she really saw.
It really does. And then there are these really intense spiritual experiences that she has. And obviously her struggle with being an empath and maybe not being totally human is a big part of it. And then things get even more interesting when she teams up with this guy named Bjorn Bauer.
And they go on this global search for hidden truths.
Exactly. It's a real adventure. And they end up connecting their findings to a lot of the conspiracy theories that are out there today.
Tying it all together.
Yeah. And their central argument is pretty mind-blowing. Life as we know it is not life as it is, which is a pretty huge statement.
It's going to get people talking for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Especially online. Like,
Oh, yeah.
think about Reddit. You can just imagine the discussions people are having about whether it's believable how people react to the different conspiracy theories in the story.
Mhm.
And of course, everyone's going to be digging into the author's background to see what's up with her.
You'd expect a full spectrum of opinions.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
But when you look at other places online, especially Amazon reviews, the overall feeling is super positive. Like, it's sitting at a 4.5-star average, which is pretty impressive.
So what are people saying about it specifically?
A lot of the reviews call it thought-provoking, a must-read for truth seekers, and even just easy to read with exciting twists. So it seems to be a page-turner, too. And a lot of people mention getting completely sucked into the story.
Sounds like it's resonating.
It really is. And
Yeah.
the language people use is interesting. Like, they talk about truth seekers and dark, powerful forces and this idea of awakening, which makes you think it's hitting a nerve with people who are already into these kinds of things.
Yeah, it seems to be tapping into something that's already there.
For sure. One reviewer even said they got lots of great info for further research related to these awakening experiences. So it's definitely sparking more exploration.
I wonder what rabbit holes people are going down.
I know, right? And Goodreads didn't have as much activity, but the reviews there were also positive. So it definitely seems to be finding its audience. And since we're talking about who's reading it, let's talk about who wrote it. Stasha Erickson is described as an author, researcher, spiritual teacher, and even a biblical scholar.
Quite the resume.
Right. And she's from Hollywood, but has ties to Norway, which adds another layer to things. And she's studied psychology and sociology, so she's interested in how we're influenced by what society tells us to believe.
Makes sense given the themes in her book.
Exactly. And she's also written about the Mandela effect and animal communication. So she's clearly been exploring these unconventional ideas for a while.
She doesn't shy away from the unusual.
And she says she had a spiritual awakening back in 2012, and now she even offers spiritual support sessions. So she's really immersed in this world.
So, with that in mind, when you consider the book's title, Memoirs of a Psychic Spy, and that based on true events claim, it really seems like there could be a personal connection to this whole psychic spy thing, maybe even through the main character, Sophia Snow.
Yeah, it's almost like she's hinting that she's been there, done that.
And it makes you think about actual psychic spy programs like the Stargate Project, which tried to use psychic abilities for espionage, but it's all pretty murky and hard to verify.
So it definitely adds to the mystery surrounding the book.
Right. And so we have this book that's getting a lot of positive attention online, especially among people who are already interested in these kinds of things. But then there's this question of how much of it is true, since it blends this memoir style with what seems like fiction.
Yeah, it creates a really interesting tension there for the reader.
Because you're constantly wondering what's real and what's not.
Exactly. And some people might criticize the lack of hard evidence or the fact that it's blurring the lines between fiction and nonfiction, and there might be questions about the author's actual expertise in espionage.
especially since she mainly presents herself as a spiritual teacher.
Right. But it seems like the book is finding success by connecting with readers who are already open to these ideas about conspiracy theories and paranormal phenomena.
That makes sense. They're already primed for this kind of story.
Exactly. So to sum it all up, Diary of an Asset tells a story that blends psychic espionage conspiracy theories and this really personal journey of transformation, and it's clearly resonating with a specific audience.
It's hitting the right notes for them.
And so as we wrap up this deep dive, here's something to think about. We as humans have this constant fascination with hidden realities, and we love a good personal story, even when there's not a lot of proof to back it up.
Mm.
So what does the popularity of books like this tell us about our desire to understand the things we don't know?
That's a question worth pondering.
It really is,
It makes you think about what drives us to seek out these kinds of stories.
and what we're hoping to find in them.
Exactly.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.
Until then, keep exploring.